Hello everyone, this is Dharamveer sir here. So today we are going to continue with chapter 6 of grade 12 maths, which is applications of derivatives. And the topic of the video is maxima and minima. That is, we have to find the maximum and minimum values of the given functions and the points at which the function attains its maximum and minimum values. Clear? So let's start. So let's start. So we have a function f defined in any interval I, and we are supposed to check its maximum value and minimum value. Then what we are going to do, that we will find a point c in the given interval and check whether the value of the function, that is fc, is greater than fx, that is the value of the function for other values of x belonging to I. So if fc is greater than fx, then we say that this point c is the point of maximum value, and the value fc is the maximum value of f. Now if the case is converse, that is if fc is less than fx, clear, if the fc is less than fx, then that particular value is called minimum value of f in the given interval, and the point c is called the point of minimum value of f in I. Clear? It is very simple. Find the point c and find the value of the function at the point c, that is fc. If fc is greater than fx for other points, it is maximum value, and if fc is less than fx for other points, then it is minimum value. Now the third point is that if the function has either maximum value or minimum value at a given point c, then that particular point is called extreme point, that is the point c will be called the extreme point of the given function, and that maximum or minimum value will be called the extreme value of the given function. Clear? So moving to the next definition, let we have a function f defined in any interval and the domain of f should be real values, that is real numbers, and c is some point in that domain. Now that point c will be called the point of local maxima if fc is greater than fx. What is fc? That is the value of the function at the point c, and fx is value of the function at point x. Now what is x? So in case of local maxima and local minima, x is a point in the interval c minus h to c plus h. Now what is c minus h? That is the point very close to c to the left hand side, and c plus h is a point very close to c to the right hand side. So if fc is greater than fx, then we say that the function, the point c is the local maxima, and the fc is the local maximum value of f. And if fc is less than fx, then we say that the point c is the point of local minima, and the value fc is the local minimum value of f. Very clear? To the left hand side and right hand side. And if fc is greater than fx, local maxima, and fc is less than fx, then local minima. Clear? So pause and note down the definitions. Okay, moving to the next point, which is the first derivative test. So we have a function, in this case we have function f defined in any open interval I. Open interval, remember this point, open interval, because for closed interval we have some different cases. In open interval I, and this function should be continuous at a point c. Now if f dash x is greater than 0, f dash x, that is first derivative of f dash x is greater than 0, that is positive, to the left hand side of c, that is if I have point c on the number line, then less than c to the left hand side, if f dash x is greater, that is positive, and if it is less than 0 at the right hand side, f dash x is less than 0, that is negative on the right hand side, then we say that this point is point of local maximum. And if the converse, if f dash x is less than 0, that is negative to the left hand side, and f dash x is greater than 0, that is positive to the right hand side, then this point c is called the point of local minimum. Clear? Once again, if the f dash x, the derivative is positive to left hand and negative to right hand, then it is called point of local maxima. And if f dash x, that is first derivative, is negative to left hand side and positive in the right hand side, then we say that this point is the point of local minimum. And suppose the first derivative is either positive to the both side, the left hand side and right hand side, or it is negative to the both sides, the left hand side and right hand side of the given point C, then we say that this point is the point of inflection. Clear? So pause and note down these points. So next is our second derivative test. Here same, we have a function f defined in an open interval I and C belongs to I. We know first derivative and second derivative, we have learned this in chapter 5. So x equals to C. Suppose we have fx, okay, and we can find f dash x. So putting f dash x equals 0, you will get some value of x, that x is your C. So if x is equal to C is a point, then x equals to C will be point of local maxima. If first condition is that f dash C is equal to 0, and second condition is that the second derivative, that is f double dash C, that the value of double derivative at that point C is negative, that is less than 0, then x equals to C is the point of local maxima, and this value fc is your local maximum value of f. And if the case is converse, that is if f double dash C is greater than 0, that is positive, then in that case that x equals to C is your point of local minima, and fc is the local minimum value of C. And what if f dash C is equal to 0 and f double dash C is equal to 0? In that case we cannot apply the second derivative test and we have to move back to our first derivative test. Clear? So remember the steps. First we have to find f dash x, then putting f dash x equals 0, we will find x equals to some point, so that point is C. Now if f double dash C is less than 0, that is negative, that is local maxima, and if f double dash C is greater than 0, that is positive, then C is the local minimum. Clear? So pause and note down the points. So till now we have learned about finding maximum or minimum value in the open interval. What if the interval is closed? So in that case we have the new term called absolute maximum and absolute minimum. So suppose we have a function fx, so we can find its derivative f dash x, which is in the interval, closed interval AB. Clear? Closed interval AB. So if f dash x equals 0, from there we can find the value of x. So let that value x equals to what? C. Clear? So we have the function in the closed interval AB and we have a point x equals to C in that particular interval. Now we are going to find the value of the function at the point C and at the end points of the interval, that is A and B. So we have FC, FA and FB. So whatever is the maximum, suppose FA is maximum, then we say that that particular value is the absolute maximum value of the given function. And whichever value is negative, suppose fc is negative, then we say that that particular value is the absolute minimum. So it's very simple. Find f dash x, put f dash x equals 0, you will get x equals to some points, and find the value of the function at those points and the end points of the closed interval. So whichever value is maximum will be your absolute maximum, and whichever is minimum will be your absolute minimum. I hope I am clear. So pause and note down the definitions. So let's start with exercise 6.5, and the question 1 is find the maximum and minimum values if any of the following functions given by. So there are few cases. I am solving question part 2 for you. The given function fx is 9x square plus 12x plus 2. After simplification you can convert it in the whole square, that is 3x plus 2 whole square minus 2. So you can observe that we have to find maximum value. You can observe that 3x plus 2 whole square is always positive, because whole square of anything is always positive. Clear? So subtracting minus 2 from both sides, 3x plus 2 whole square minus 2 will be greater or equal to minus 2. We are taking. So the value of fx is what? 3x square plus 2 minus 2 is greater or equal to minus 2 for every x which belongs to real number. Now let's find 3x plus 2. So if you put 3x plus 2 equals 0, you will get x equals to minus 2 upon 3. Minus 2 upon 3. So putting x equals to minus 3 in the given function, we are finding what? F at minus 2 upon 3 is equal to minus 2. So you can check that the given function don't have any maximum value. Don't have any maximum value. Only minimum value is there, because it is greater or equal to minus 2 some negative number. Clear? So we are getting only a minimum value. There is no maximum value. Minimum value is what? Putting 3x plus 2 equals 0, we are getting x equals to minus 2, and finding the value of the function, we will get the value as minus 2. Pause and note down the solution. Next is question number 2. Find the maximum and minimum values if any of the following functions. So I have solved fourth part for you, where fx is modulus of 4x plus 3. Now we know that sign lies between minus 1 and 1. So we have minus 1 less or equal to 4x plus less or equal to 1. Now we need also plus 3 in the given function. So adding 3 to all the sides of the inequality, you'll get what? 2 less or equal to sin 4x plus 3 less or equal to 4. And since it is modulus, so it is going to be positive also. So what we are getting? The maximum that sin 4x plus 3 can be equal to 4, and the minimum should be equal to 2. It's very simple. So pause and note down the solution. So next is question number 3. Find the local maxima and local minimum, if any, of the following functions. Find also the local maximum and the local minimum values as the case may be. So I have solved part 3 for you, which is hx equals to sin x plus cos x. And we have to find the local maximum, local minimum. Now for local minima and local maximum, I have explained you the first derivative test. So differentiating as dash x, we get cos x minus sin x. Putting that equals to 0, you will get s dash x equals 0 implies sin x equals to cos x, or after simplification we will get tan x equals to 1, which implies x equals to pi by 2. Why pi by 4? Sorry, pi by 4. Why pi by 4? Because this pi by 4 lies between 0 to pi by 2, which is given in the question. So we have the value of x as pi by 4. Now finding h double dash x, that is second derivative, we get h double dash x equals to minus sin x minus cos x. So after taking minus common, we will get minus sin x plus cos x. So finding the value at the given point, that is pi by 4, we will see that this value is what? Negative, which comes out to be minus root 2, which is less than 0. So we have learned in the second derivative test, since at this point h double dash x is less than 0, therefore x equals to pi by 4 is the point of local maxima, and the local maximum value is what? Putting this pi by 4 in the given function h, that is sin x plus cos x, we will get h pi by 4 as root 2. So our point of local maxima is pi by 4, and the local maximum value is root 2. I hope I am clear. So pause and note down the solution. So moving to question 4. Prove that the following functions do not have maxima or minimum. So I am solving part 2 for this question. Here the function is gx equals to log x. So differentiating, we will get g dash x equals to 1 upon x. Now if we put g dash x equals to what? X. 1 upon x equals to 0. We will observe that there is no value, since log x is defined for a positive number. So g dash x is going to be 0, greater than 0. Therefore there does not exist any c. We need the value x equals to c now, such that g dash c equals 0. Because if we put 1 upon x equals 0, we will get 1 equals 0, which is not defined. Hence the given function does not have a maxima or minimum, because we are not able to find the value of, or we cannot find the value of x in the case. So pause and note down the solution. Next is question number 5. Find the absolute maximum value and the absolute minimum value of the following functions in the given intervals. So I am solving part 4 for you. The given function is fx equals to x minus 1 whole square plus 3. Now for absolute maxima or minima, we have to find f dash x. So finding f dash x, we will get f dash x equals to 2 into x minus 1. And putting this f dash x equals 0, we are getting x equals to 1. Clear? So we got the point x equals to 1, and the end points of the given interval are minus 3 and 1. So finding the value at these points, minus 3 and 1, we will get f1 equals to 3, and f minus 3 is equal to what? 19. So we have the absolute maximum of the given function as 19 occurring at the point x equals to minus 3, and the absolute minimum at the point 1 equals to 3. Clear? It's very simple. Find f dash x, put equals 0, get the value of x, and find the value of the given function at the given point and the endpoints of the interval. The maximum your absolute maximum, and the minimum is your absolute minimum. So pause and note down the solution. Next we have question number 7. Find both the maximum value and the minimum value of the given function 3x power 4 minus 8x cubed plus 12x square minus 48x plus 25 on the interval 0, 3. Now we have the interval closed interval. So remember the definitions I have told you. that in that case we have to find the absolute maxima and absolute minimum. So the function is given. First we have to find the first derivative. So we are getting f dash x equals to what? After simplification, f dash x is equal to 12 into x minus 2 x square plus 2. Now if you put f dash x equals to 0, we will get x minus 2 equals 0, that is x equals to 2. And if you put x square plus 2 equals 0, which will not give you any real roots, because x will in that case equals to under root minus 2. So we will consider only the number x equals to 2, which belongs to the interval 0, 3. Now we have the value of x, so we have to evaluate the value of the function at the point x equals to 2 and the end points, that is 0 and 3 of the given closed interval. So f2 is equal to, we are getting minus 39, f0 is 25 and f3 is 16. So here from we can see that the absolute maximum value of the given function is 25 at the point x equals to 0. Absolute maximum is 25 at the point x equals 0, and the absolute minimum is what? Minus 39 at the point x equals to 2. So sums are as simple as that. You have to find f dash x in the case of closed interval. Find f dash x, put them equals to 0, find the value of x, and find the value of the function at that particular point and the end points of the closed interval. Clear? So pause and note down the solution. Moving to question 10. Find the maximum value of 2x cube minus 24x plus 107 in the interval 1, 3. Find the maximum value of the same function in the other interval minus 3, minus 1. So since the intervals are closed, we have to find absolute maximum and absolute minimum. So first we have to find the derivative. So fx was given, we calculated f dash x, which is equal to 6x square minus 24, or taking 6 common, we will get 6 into x square minus 4. So putting f dash x equals 0, we will get x equals to what? Plus minus 2. Now we have the interval 1, 3. We have the interval 1, 3 and the point x equals to 2. So we have to find the value of the function at x equals to plus minus 2 and x at the point. Now we cannot consider the minus 2. Why? Because this minus 2 does not belong to the interval 1, 3. Clear? So we have to be very cautious which points we are taking, because that point have to belong to the given interval. So here we are taking x equals to 2 and the end points are 1, 3. So f2 is equal to 75, f1 equals to 85 and f3 is equal to 89. So here we can see that the maximum value is, or the absolute maximum value is 89 at the point x equals to 3. Now we have to consider the other intervals minus 3, minus 1. Now we had the value of x equals to plus 2 and minus 2. So we have taken 2 in the previous interval. Now this minus 2, the other value minus 2 belongs to the interval minus 3, minus 1. So we have to find the value of the function at minus 2 and at the end point, that is minus 1 and minus 3. Clear? So finding f minus 3, which is equal to 125, f minus 1, which is 129, and f minus 2, which is 139. So we can see that the absolute maximum value of the function is in the interval minus 3, minus 1 is 139, which is at the point x equals to minus 2. I hope I am clear. So pause and note down the solution. Moving to question 11. It is given that at x equals to 1, the function x power 4 minus 6x square plus ax plus 9 attains its maximum value on the interval 0, 2, closed interval 0, 2. So we have to find the value of a. Now interval is closed. So we have fx equals to x power 4, function is given x power 4 minus 62x square plus ax plus 9. So finding f dash x, we get 4x cube minus 12, 124x plus a. Now it is given that the function attains the maximum value at x equals to 1. So f dash 1 equals to what? 0. Putting that equals 0, we will get 4 minus 124 plus a equals 0. So we are getting a equals to what? 120. As simple as that. So pause and note down the solution. Next we have question number 15. Find two positive numbers x and y such that their sum is 35 and the product x square y power 5 is a maximum. Sum is 35 and the product x square y power 5 is a maximum. So we have the two numbers, one is x, so other is y. Now if sum is 35, so we can take y as 35 minus x. Clear? Because x plus y is 35, so y is equal to 35 minus x. Now the product is x square y power 5. That is putting the values. Now P becomes what? X square, and in place of y we have put 35 minus x whole power 5. So P dash x equals 0. Finding P dash x, we will get P dash x as, after simplification we will get 7x 35 minus x power 4 into 10 minus x. So if you put P dash x equals to 0, we will get x equals to 0, x equals to 35, x equals to 10. So we have 3 values. Now finding the double derivative. While explaining the second derivative test, I have told you that we are going to use this test maximum number of times. So we have P double dash x, after differentiating P dash x, we will get P double dash x as 7 into 35 minus x cube into 6x square minus 120x plus 350. So we have 3 values. So if we put x equals to 35 in f dash x or fx, that is P dash x or px, in that case we will get y is equal to what? Because y was 35 minus x, so we will get y is equal to 0. This will make the product equals to 0. And if you put x equals to 0, then y is 35, but in that case also the product will be 0. Now therefore x equals 0 and x equals 35 are not going to the values of x. So taking the third value, x equals to 10, if you find P double dash x at that point, we will get P double dash x equals to 7 into 25 cube into minus 250. So we are multiplying a negative number. Whatever be the solution, it will be a negative number, that is less than 0. So if P double dash x is less than 0, it means what? It was maximum. Remember, therefore by second derivative test, the product Px will be maximum when x equals to 10. If x equals to 10, y is equal to 35 minus 10, that is 25. Hence the required numbers which we needed was 10 and 25. Clear? So pause and note down the solution. Next is question 18. A rectangular sheet of tin 45 cm by 24 cm is to be made into a box without top. So we are making a box by cutting off squares from each corner and folding up the flaps. So we will cut squares from 4 corners of the given sheet. What should be the side of the square to be cut off? Means we have to find the side of the square which we are eliminating, so that the volume of the box is maximum. Clear? So we have to, or here the maximizer function is what? Volume. It means we have to consider the function of volume. So let that side we are cutting off is equals to x centimeter. That is the height of the box, since we are making the flap from that. So the height of the box is x. Clear? Now the length of rectangular sheet was 45. So we have eliminated x from both sides. So length will be 45 minus 2x. And the breadth was 24. So we have eliminated 24 from both the corners. So breadth of the box is 24 minus 2x. Clear? So we have the height, we have the length, we have the breadth. So volume is equals to L into B into H. So multiplying x into 45 minus 2x into 24 minus 2x. So volume function is 4x cube minus 138x square plus 1080x. So again maximum minimum. So finding v dash x, we are getting 12 into x minus 18 into x minus 5. And we have finding the double derivative v double dash x, we will get 12 into 2x minus 23. Now if we put v dash x equals 0, we will get 2 values of x, which is 18 and the other is x equals to 5. But if you consider the breadth, it was 24. So we cannot cut a square of 18 from both the corners, because it will be more than 24. So therefore eliminating x equals to 18, we are getting x equals to what? 5. So putting this x equals to 5 in the double derivative v double dash x, we are getting v double dash 5 equals to what? Minus 156, which is less than 0. So again by the second derivative test, the x equals to point is the point of local maximum or the maximum. Hence the side of the square that we have eliminated from the rectangular sheet will be equal to what? 5, to make the volume maximum. So pause and note down the solution. Coming to question number 19. I have told you that this is the most important exercise of this particular chapter. And if I have to pick the most important sum, now this is the most important sum, which have been asked maximum number of times. Let's show that of all the rectangles inscribed in a given fixed circle, the square has the maximum area. Now here we have the function maximum area, so we have to consider the area of the rectangle. And since we have to show that it will be square, so we have to show that the length and breadth of the given rectangle should be equal. So we have a rectangle of length L and breadth B of a circle of radius S. of radius A. Clear? Now this diagonal of this rectangle will be what? Diameter. Why? Because in grade 9 we have learned that angle in a semicircle right angle, and since all the angles of rectangle are 90 degree, clear, will be 90 degree. So this radius will be what? Since joining two end points will be diameter, this length A and A. Clear? So we have a right angle. So applying by Pythagoras theorem, we will get what? 2a square, the length of the diameter, will be equal to L square plus B square. So from there we get the value of B, which is equal to under root 4a square minus L square. Now area of rectangle is what? L into B. So L into B, that is A is equal to L into under root 4a square minus L square. So differentiating A with respect to only single function L is there. Why we cannot differentiate with respect to A? Because the circle is fixed. It is given that the given fixed circle. Clear? So that A is your fixed. We cannot change that. We can change the length and breadth. Therefore D we have differentiated with respect to L. So dA upon dL equals to, after differentiation, will be equal to 4a square minus 2L square upon under root 4a square minus L square. So we have dA upon dL. So differentiating again to get the double derivative, d2a upon dl2, we will get d2a upon dl2 as minus 2L into 6a square minus L square upon 4a square minus L square power 3 by 2. Clear? Now remember the derivative, second derivative test. We have to put dA upon dl equals 0, which gives L equals to under root 2a. So putting the value of L in the value of B we have obtained. So B is equal to what? Also under root 2m. So we have got L equals to B as root 2a, root 2a. So both are equal. So we can say that the given rectangle is square. But here comes the mistake. That if you have proved that it is square, but we have not proved that it is maximum. For maximum or minimum, we have to find the value of d2a upon dl2 at the given point. So finding d2a upon dl2 at L equals to root 2a, we'll observe that it is minus 4 after simplification. It is minus 4, which is less than 0. So therefore, again by the second derivative test, when L equals to root 2a, the area of the rectangle is maximum. And since L equals to B, both are equal to root 2a, the given rectangle will be a square. So remember this, that solve this sum once, twice, thrice, unless and until you are sure that you can solve this sum 4th time, 5th time, 6th time, 7th time. Clear? This is a very very important sum. So pause and note down the solution. Next is question 21. Of all the closed cylindrical cans, write circular of a given volume of 100 cubic centimeter. Now the volume is fixed. It is 100 cubic centimeter. Find the dimension of the can. We have to find the dimension of the can, which had the maximum surface area, minimum surface area. Minimum surface area. So our function should be surface area of the cylinder. Given. So let the dimension, that is r be the radius and h be the height of the cylinder. So volume is equal to what? Pi r square h, and this is equal to 100. So from here we find the value of h equals to 100 upon pi r square. Now our function is surface area. So surface area of cylinder is, we know, 2 pi r square plus 2 pi r h. So putting the values of h in this one, we will get s equals to 2 pi r square plus 200 upon r. So finding ds upon dr, we will get ds upon dr equals to 4 pi plus 400 upon r cube. 4 pi r minus 200 upon r square, and double derivative, that is d2s upon dr2 as 4 pi plus 400 upon r cube. So putting ds upon dr equals 0, we obtain the value of r as 50 upon pi whole power 1 upon 3, taking the cube root. So now we can see that when r equals to 50 upon pi power 1 upon 3, the value of double derivative, that d2s upon dr square, is greater than 0. So by the second derivative test, we can say that the surface area is minimum when the radius is equal to 50 upon pi power 1 upon 3 centimeter. Now since we needed the dimensions, we have the radius. Now we need to find the height. So putting the value of r in the h, we will get h equals to 2 into 50 upon pi power 1 upon 3 centimeter. Clear? So we have the required dimensions of r and the height. So pause and note down the solution. Next we have question number 24. A wire of length 28 meter is to be cut into two pieces. One of the pieces to be made into a square and the other into a circle. What should be the length of the two pieces so that the combined area of the square and the circle is minimum? So here we have the function as area of square and circle. Clear? Now the length L we cut from the given wire to make a square. Then the other piece of the wire, total length of 28, so which we have to convert into circle is 28 minus L meter. Now side of the square will be L upon 4 because we have converted the length L into a square, so perimeter is L. So side will be L upon 4. And the radius of the circle, now 2 pi r, the circumference will be 28 minus L because from this length 28 minus L we have made the circle, so it will be your circumference. So from here we get r equals to 1 upon 2 pi into 28 minus L. So we have to find the area of the square and circle. So area of square plus circle, so L square upon 16 plus pi 1 upon 2 pi 28 minus L whole square. So after simplification we get A as L square upon 16 plus 1 upon 4 pi 28 minus L whole square. So differentiating, that d upon dl will be equal to L upon 8 minus 1 upon 2 pi 28 minus L. Now I expect that all of you have learned differentiability in chapter 5 and all the exercise of this chapter 2. So you may be able to find d upon dl yourself. Finding d2 upon dl2 we get equals to 1 upon 8 plus 1 upon 2 pi. Now if you put the value of pi here, you will get that d2 upon dl2 is what? Greater than 0. So if d upon dl equals 0, we will get L equals to what? 112 upon pi by 4. So thus when L equals to 112 upon pi by 4, d2 upon dl2 is going to be positive. So by the second derivative test we know that if d2 upon dl2 is positive, so the area will be minimum. So L equals to 112 upon pi by 4 when the area is minimum. So hence the combined area, we have to find the combined area is the maximum. And the length of the square is 112 upon pi by 4 and the length used in making the wire is, if you subtract that length from 28, you will get 28 pi upon pi by 4. So this was your required length and length of both the pieces. Clear? So pause and note down the solution. Moving to question 23. Prove that the volume of the largest cone that can be inscribed in a sphere of radius r is 8 upon 27 of the volume of sphere. Now we have to find the volume of cone. So our function will be volume of the cone. Clear? And the sphere is fixed. The radius is given to be r. Clear? So let V be the volume of the cone. So volume of cone will be equal to what? 1/3 pi r square h, where small r is the radius of the cone and h is the height of the cone. So height of the cone will be given by h equals to r plus ab. If you see, look in the figure, h equals to what? R plus ab, and ab equals to under root r square minus r square by using the Pythagoras theorem. So volume will be equal to 1/3 pi r square, r plus r square minus r square. So now since we have to find the maximum interval, so we need the derivative. So finding dv upon dr. Why we have differentiated with respect to small r? Because capital R is the fixed radius of the given sphere. So dv upon dr is 2 upon 3 pi r into r plus 2 pi r into capital R square minus 3 pi r cube upon 3 r square minus r square. So we have dv upon dr. So differentiate the given function to find d2v upon dr2. Now to find the maximum minimum, we have to put dv upon dr equals to 0. So if you put dv upon dr equals to 0, you will get small r square is equal to what? 8 upon 9 capital R square. Clear? And if you put r square equals to 8 upon r square in the value of d2v upon dr2, that is double derivative, we observe that this double derivative will be less than 0. Try to simplify it. Since d2v upon dr2 is less than 0, so therefore by second derivative test, the volume of the cone will be maximum. And maximum at when? R square equals to 8 upon 9 r square. So we have r square equals to 8 upon r square. So from here we can find the value of h. H equals to what? We have obtained. So putting small r square in that, we will get h as 4 upon 3 r. So we have r square, we have h. So we have to find the volume. Clear? So put the value of r square and h in the volume. We will get volume equals to 8 upon 27 into volume of the sphere. Since you can see that it is 8 upon 27 into 4 upon 3 pi r cube, and 4 upon 3 pi r cube is what? Volume of sphere. Clear? Hence the sum is proved. So pause and note down the solutions. We have question number 25. Show that the semi-vertical angle of the cone of the maximum volume and of given slant height is tan inverse root 2. Now read the question, that we have the given slant height. It means slant height is fixed. We have the maximum volume, so our function will be volume, and we have to show that the same vertical angle will be tan inverse root 2. Clear? So let that same vertical angle is theta, and we know that this theta belongs to 0 to pi by 2. It will be anything between 0 to pi by 2. Now let small r, h and l be the radius, height and the slant height of the cone, since it is we have to take 3 different dimensions. So the slant height of the cone is given to be constant. It is given. So r equals to what? If you apply trigo, we will get r equals to L sin theta and h equals to L cos theta. Clear? Now we have to find the volume of the cone. Now we know that the volume of cone is what? Volume of the cone is 1 upon 3 pi r square h. So putting the value of r and h, we get volume as 1 upon 3 pi L cube sin square theta cos theta. Now since L is given, we cannot differentiate with respect to L. We have to find the angle of theta. So differentiating with respect to theta, we get dv upon d theta. Clear? And if you differentiate it again to get the double derivative, you will get d2v upon d theta 2. So putting dv upon d theta equals 0, we get tan theta equals to root 2, or theta is equal to tan inverse 2. So we get our angle as tan inverse root 2. Now when theta is equal to tan inverse root 2, we get tan square theta equals to what? 2, or sin square theta equals to 2 cos square theta. So since we have to check maximum and minimum, so taking d2v upon d theta 2 and putting the value, we will get d2v upon d theta 2 equals to what? Minus 4 pi L cube cos cube theta. Clear? And since this theta belongs 0 to pi by 2, cos is going to be positive, L is length positive, so every term is positive and we have a sign of negative. So we get d2v upon d theta 2 equals to what? Some negative number, so less than 0. Therefore by the second derivative test, the volume is maximum when theta equals to tan inverse root 2. Clear? Hence for the given slant height, the same vertical angle of the cone of maximum volume will be tan inverse root 2. So pause and note down the solution. So I have solved majority of the sums. Rest you have to solve the remaining sums of 6.5, and don't forget to solve the very important examples before this exercise. Clear? Till then, all the best and thank you.